He told Republicans that if they voted for this proposal, which they had already agreed to do, he would take out his wallet and spend as much money as it took to defeat them in primaries and drive them out of office. You got that?
All right, so in this clip, we've got the streamer Destiny completely dismantling Asmongold on his stream. Destiny is watching a video where Asmongold is reacting to a recent message from Bernie Sanders to the American people. And let's just say Destiny has a lot to say about it. So let's dive in and check out the moment where Destiny absolutely dismantles Asmongold live on his stream.
That's been going on forever, and that happened to Bernie Sanders. The thing is that, like, he's right, and like, I don't think that it's a good thing that people like Elon Musk have as much political power as they do. I think it's very bad.
Just as a quick thing, the Bernie Sanders talking point is threefold. One legitimate claim, two bullshit claims. One legitimate claim that was bad was Donna Brazile. Before one of the debates, I think she was an employee. Was she an employee for CNN? Or no, it wasn't a debate. It might have been a town hall. She leaked questions in advance to Hillary Clinton's campaign. This was bad. Shouldn't have done it. Okay, she was a contributor to CNN. That might have been how she got the questions then. She says here, my job was to make all our Democratic candidates look good, and I worked closely with both campaigns to make that happen. I don't believe she passed any questions off to Bernie's campaign, though. But she passed questions, at least one off. Was it about the death penalty? To at least one off to the Hillary Clinton camp for town hall. Not good. Not good. Not good. Shouldn't have done this. Was really bad. Favored one side. Legitimately not a good thing. So this is the one prong. Second prong is that super delegates stole the election from Bernie. That's not true. The way that super delegates work, people can argue whether they like them or not, but the super delegates didn't make a difference in terms of the outcome of that primary. And it wasn't really relevant anyway. And then the third way is the media coverage of Bernie. People always complain about media coverage when they're unhappy, so that's a bullshit claim as well. Ultimately, this Donna thing was not the make or break for Bernie's campaign. Bernie was just never winning that primary. He just doesn't have the popularity with black voters, which is really important with a Democratic primary. Same thing with the second one he ran it. Like, it's just, yeah, he was never winning anyway. But anyway, people will bring up this, like, it was stolen from Bernie. That's just not true. Progressives like to spread that myth because progressives like their candidate. And then conservatives like to spread that myth to undermine the Democratic Party. Asmongold's online coverage and messaging has been like a full court, like Trump propaganda press. So Asmon will always repeat the conservative propaganda line. So that's what he's doing here when he's repeating the lie about having the election stolen from Bernie Sanders here.
Wow, right off the bat, it looks like Destiny is completely shutting down Bernie Sanders' claims from the video. Bernie saying the election was taken away by superdelegates is a pretty bold statement, and Destiny flat out says that's just not true. So yeah, if that claim doesn't hold up, it kind of makes you wonder, can we really trust the rest of what Bernie is saying here? Looks like Asmongold has some thoughts on this too, so let's keep listening.
Like Elon Musk have as much political power as they do. I think it's very bad. But the reason why I think that a lot of people aren't going to be as sympathetic is because there have always been people like that, like Bill Gates, or you could look at like George Soros or something like that. I think George Soros is a bit overblown. But, you know, as another example, you have Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, like all of these people have been doing this for years, right? It's not okay. It isn't. But
remember, never, ever, ever any specific examples on anything ever. It's always important because you're creating the environment to give people a way to feel about a thing, but it doesn't really matter what the facts are, which is why we'll never give an example of anything these people have done that we think is objectionable or questionable.
Well, the problem is that when you create a game and then somebody beats you at your own game, you can't say that the game is rigged. You see what I'm saying?
When you ask what game is he talking about, remember, the conservative strategy is to always convince you that the Democrats have always been doing this, and now we're just doing what the Democrats have done. That's always the game plan, right?
We'd be like, look at democracy in action. Look, people are motivated. This is exciting. So I would say it's not Elon.
Don't you think that Asmon is just talking out of his ass like your typical uncle? He seems like he just goes off of vibes and is just a useful idiot that is getting mind by Nazis. Yeah, a little bit, but like I'm just saying what he's doing, right? Do I think that he's like legitimately a super conservative and that's like ideological where he's coming from? No, but he's either been so audience captured or so information captured that he just basically becomes indistinguishable from any like far right MAGA conservative. He'll repeat every single MAGA conservative talking point without questioning them. He has very little, if any, skepticism for the MAGA side. So he'll just repeat all the talking points uncritically to his audience.
So I would say it's not Elon Musk. And it's not even what he's doing. It's the results people don't like. They didn't like that a, quote, bipartisan bill that was...
they don't like that they won, that it worked. That's the problem, is that they did it and it worked. That's why they're mad.
Really just a giveaway. With Santa Claus had come to Washington and everybody was getting what they wanted. That got tanked, and that's what people are upset about.
Yep.
It is interesting, though.
Will you let me know when Taylor Swift does that, Katie? You let me know when Taylor Swift decides a call to action about specific legislation, and we could have that conversation.
She did. She did with the reproductive rights and with Roe versus Wade.
Reproductive rights is not really federal legislation at all. Roe v. Wade has nothing to do with federal legislation. Broadly championing a policy is a lot different than telling congressmen to pull the plug on a particular bill when you are politically influential due to your financial proximity to the president-elect. It's not even remotely the same thing, but I don't know if Asmon even knows the difference between a bill from Congress or the Constitution or the difference between the Supreme Court and a congressman. But again, these are all just like the conservative talking points. It's always all the same, or the Democrats have always done it first. But he always seemed to have a double standard, right? Even when you debated him back when Hillary was running against him, he has a double standard for Trump lying for CNN. Maybe, but like I think like a year or more ago, I gave Asmon more credit because I don't think he covered, like I've said this before, he wasn't like a full-time political coverage guy. It was just kind of like vibes based on like gaming, like Gamergate shit, and then he like played games and stuff. But as he's been like ramping up, I would say over the past year, Asmongold's political coverage has become a significantly larger part of his content. So now I'm going to be more harshly critical of the way that he covers things. Like 5 years ago, he's just like a gaming streamer that like dips into politics and I think gave some bad takes, but I'm not going to like be super harsh on that. But I would say like over the last year, I think that he's been way more politically active. So now I have, it all started with the Johnny Depp trial. Maybe, yeah.
Destiny is basically pointing out that Asmongold isn't even giving the other side a fair shot here. Every time the clip shows something that supports his biased views, Asmongold just uses it as proof to back up his beliefs. This is a textbook example of confirmation bias and not exactly the best way to approach a debate. You've got to let the other side have their say, and clearly Asmongold isn't really doing that in this case. Let's see what else Destiny has to say about it.
You seem to be speaking more harshly on Asmon's takes recently. Does something change? Use more aggressive rhetoric against things? Yeah, just what I said. He's been ramping up his political coverage, and now he's like, it's just like he's just a Republican mouthpiece, basically. Yeah. In one way, it's funny because, now Hassan is the second biggest political streamer on Twitch. And another way, it's kind of sad because I think Asmongold actually has a much larger chance of getting permabanned than Hassan does, just because Asmongold was on the wrong political side for Twitch. But didn't Asmongold come across super intelligent, at least in his approach, when he moderated the Fuentes debate? Yeah, so something that I think is frustrating is that I don't think that IQ or intelligence horsepower is enough to save you from bad political opinions. I think you need to have external like processes to check yourself from falling into bad information environments. Same thing with this guy. Like this guy is legitimately, I've spoken with him a lot off camera as well. This guy is very smart and he has good thought processes. But my God, he has every political opinion. But the issue is that when you start to fall into these, information environments, it is so hard to break out. It is so hard to break out. And you have to have an ungodly amount. You have to think that the streaming world is selecting for one thing and it's demanding you, if you want to be good politically, well, good in the way that I'm saying is good, to be the total opposite, right? You have to have a lot of epistemic humility when you're entering political environments to think that like I could be totally wrong on something. And the environments for influencers is selecting for people that probably have less humility and are a bit more aggressive, are a little bit more disagreeable. So it's a tall order. Yeah.
I don't view this as and I understand that it is.
How do you know that you're not in a bad information environment? I think I do more than anybody else to like fact check and to have like external processes to check myself. So like, whereas like somebody will say like, if you ask anybody that question, how do you make sure you're not in a bad media environment? They're going to tell you, I get my news from a variety of sources. That's what somebody says when they've never thought about the question before, right? So I will tell you that, like, I can argue both sides of any issue incredibly convincingly. And I firmly believe that. For any debate that I've had, I will be the best debater on the opposite side as well. So for the Palestine-Israel stuff, if I wanted to debate pro-Zionist, I would be the strongest Palestinian debater. No questions asked, easily. Same thing with things like abortion, same thing with things like veganism, even on things that I'm on the other side of 100%. So I can argue both sides convincingly, number one. Number two, I always have in mind, like, what it would take to change my mind. Like, if I saw information on those or I saw those, I would change my mind. Number three, I try to, like, consciously and verbally match my convictions to my beliefs. So I'll tell you, like, I don't feel too strongly about this, like, or I feel very strongly about this. Four is I'm willing to debate anybody on any of these topics at any point in time, and I'm willing to, like, go through data and evidence to view it. It's not like, let's have a debate, but I don't want to get lost in the weeds. Let's not get lost in the weeds. We don't want to go down a rabbit hole. Like, I'll read or anything. Five is that I'll do, like, as much research as I feel I need to understand a topic, and more than anybody else in my industry. Like, there are things that I do, like actual things that I can point to say, like, I think this is how I stay out of, like, bad misinformation environments, rather than just the answer of, like, I try to get my news from a variety of sources. Yeah.
So yeah, there you have it. Destiny completely dismantles Asmongold and shuts him down. Asmongold's been getting into political discussions on his stream lately, which naturally opens the door to debates and criticism. Destiny, being on the opposite side of the political spectrum, really doesn't hold back here, and in my opinion, he absolutely annihilates Asmongold. But what do you guys think? Was Destiny a little too harsh, or did he handle it perfectly? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Take care.